Days I sit and wish I was a kid again. Back in the days when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore. But some days I sit.
Thanks for tuning in to TriStar Radio. If you want to hit us up on the web, just go to www.tristarradio.com. If you just want to tweet us, go to TriStar_radio.
This jam is dedicated to the whack DJs, and it seems to be an awful lot nowadays. Getting on the turntable, spinning back and forth. I can tell from the mix the way you're cutting your saw. With all the fresh cuts that my DJ's made, those who wish to battle him will just get slayed. And if you ever have a problem, then he will solve it. When he's on the mix, you should get involved. He's just as good can get. And if you can't take him out, homeboy, don't fret. The man Marley Marl just can't be taken. So go ahead and try him if you think I'm faking. If he ever wants to lose, I think they paid him. But nothing in the world could make me trade him. He's known throughout the country from land to land. And by the whack DJs, he's a wanted man. He doesn't have to try hard to do his best. The reason why I wrote this record, cause he cuts so fresh. Marley. There's a few DJs that try to fight his style, but when he sees them on the streets, all he does is smile. They drive rental cars, wear rental clothes. They probably rented their cuts, but only heaven knows he doesn't just cut like most DJs. He increases the momentum while the record plays, and every now and then he might change the sound. Sit back and just listen as he breaks this down. Break it 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 down.
I know you're gonna dig this.
The M. The A. The R. The L. This jam is dedicated to the whack DJs, and it seems to be an awful lot nowadays. Getting on the turntable, spinning back and forth, but I can tell from the mix the way you're cutting your saw. With all the def cuts that my DJ's made, those who wish to battle him will just get slayed. In any competition, he's the last remainer. Def on the cuts, I'm the rhyme explainer. We won't stop teaching till the lesson is taught, and MCs and perpetrating DJs get caught. To see us on the streets is just so shocking. So all the party people just keep on rocking.
On rockin' the. On rockin' the. On rockin' the. On rockin' the. On rockin'. On rockin'.
this is Big Cheese the Boss, and I'm back. I hope you enjoyed that song, but we got more to come, so stay tuned.
Sometimes I wonder, do you even recognize the woman that's standing in front of you? Listen, sometimes I wonder, do you even care or realize why I took care of you? 'Cause you're my heart, you are my soul, you're my other half. Without you I cannot be whole, baby. So far apart, I just don't know what drove us apart in the first place. Now I know, baby, why these tears I cry sure won't be the last. It will not be the last, no. 'Cause this pain inside never seems to pass. It never seems to pass me by. So I thank you. Said I thank you. Yes, I thank you for making me a woman. Sometimes I wonder, could she be more of a woman to you than you are a man to me? Listen, sometimes I wonder, why me? I'm here miserable while you're out living your fantasies and didn't care. You're my heart, you are my soul, you're my other half. Without you I cannot be whole, baby. So far apart, I just don't know what drove us apart in the first place. Now I know, baby, why these tears I cry sure won't be the last. It will not be the last, no. 'Cause this pain inside never seems to pass. It never seems to pass me by. So I thank you. Said I thank you. Yes, I thank you for making me a woman. One thing I love in life is you gotta be ready to sacrifice to survive. I hope she's happy. You're the chapter that I'll be closing. Oh, you're happy. 'Cause once my door closed, it won't be open. These tears I cry shall be the last. It will not be the last. 'Cause this pain inside never seems to pass. Never seems to pass me by. So I thank you. Said I thank you. Yes, I thank you for making me a woman. So I thank you. Said I thank you. Yes, I thank you for making me a woman.
Hey, you got through listening to Estelle. Thank you. And I thank you. I appreciate you guys staying tuned and listening to me. But, you know, I really appreciate it. I love you guys. But we was, before we went to the last break, we was talking about the stats and numbers versus about males incarceration in prison and how our landscape of Black America has changed, where we're to the point where we celebrate guys, I guess. Ultimately, you could just say failures. I'm going to say failure. Where, you know, when you a teenager, you're 15 years old, you have a baby, you're congratulated. When you smoking marijuana, you know, that's the new, I guess, coolness. I guess that's the word you can use, put on it. When you go to jail, you're slapped on the back. You're in there now, and I find a big problem, big issues, a lot of issues with that. So and one of the things, and since we're talking about drugs, a lot of this came about after the war, so-called war on drugs. It I think that it's not something that just happened. I think it planned. I think that's the reason why you have prisons on the stock market. People invest in prisons, and people don't want to lose their investments. So we got to put somebody there. And who's better to put there and to continue to suppress the black people? So, but before we went to break, I was talking about how the political landscape, how it's changing and it's not changing in our favor. And one of the things that I want to talk about was the voter suppression. We're going all the way backwards. We're going back to the 60s, when we fighting for our voters' rights. We're fighting to vote. You have some states that you can't vote with a state or a student ID card, but you can vote with a gun license, a gun permit. You have some states where you have to have all these forms of documents in order to obtain a voter's registration card or to be able to go vote. To go vote, you got to have driver's license, birth certificate, passports. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but that's the direction it's heading. And at first, my concern was, I didn't really have a concern initially because I'm like, oh, this is some things that I assumed everybody had, and I assumed wrong. You have a lot of seniors, and I'm thinking back on my grandfather. My grandfather was, he didn't have all this stuff. I mean, I went to the bank with my grandfather one time, and my grandfather didn't have ID, but everybody in the bank knew my grandfather. So he didn't have any issues far as banking because everybody knew who he was. When he went in there, he just say, I need XYZ. And this wasn't that little mom and pop type bank, this little 1 or 2 branches. It was like Bank of America. He walked in there and the bank manager knew him, all the tailors knew him. I mean, everybody was, hey, Mr. Johnson, how you doing today, Mr. Johnson? He walk in and just go to the window, and I mean, the bank manager will walk out and, Mr. Johnson, I'll take care over here. Or he would say, hey, bank teller XYZ, take care of Mr. Johnson. And I was like, wow. So imagine my grandfather trying to go to the voters poll. Now, this is a man that came up in the era where he had to fight for the right to vote. Now, because he don't have a driver's license and a social security card, or he don't have 2 forms of state ID or whatever they're requiring, they're going to suppress his vote. And you can't tell me this is not all because of Barack Obama winning the White House. You can't tell me it's not because of that. It is because of that. They want to try to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And they want this man to be a failure. And because before he even took seat, before he even went into office, their biggest concern was, we're going to make this guy a one-term president. He's not going to win a second term. So they start putting wheels in motions to make sure that happens. And this kind of relates, this is the political landscape that I'm trying to tell you guys about, is that they're restructuring districts to congressional districts where it would incorporate more white communities that will heavily outvote the black people in the black community. So I'm trying to give you an example. They restructured a district where it was predominantly black. And so what they did, they rezoned it, and now it's not predominant. That district is not predominantly black. It's predominantly white. And so guess what happened? They're going to vote their congressman, senator in, and that congressman or senator is not going to recognize or is not going to represent our people in that area. So I think that there's some things that we have to be conscious of. So hey, you're tuned into TriStar Radio. You're tuned in and you're listening to Big Cheese the Boss, and we'll be right back. So hey, stay tuned.
When I was young, I'm not a kid anymore. But some days I sit and wish I was a kid again. Back in the days when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore.